Namaste. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the disposable income aggregates which we have started in our previous video. This is a continuation of it. In our previous video we have discussed about disposable income, national disposable income, which is a part of the disposable income. Now the other part, apart from the national disposable income, the other part we would discuss today. So that is disposable income of the private sector. Disposable income of the private sector. So the disposable income of the private sector is divided into three parts, or you can say we are having three aggregates of disposable income of the private sector. So those aggregates are the private income, the personal income, and the personal disposable income. Private income, personal income, and personal disposable income. Now here we will look into each one of them in detail. Now if we talk about the private income, what is this private income? Private income is nothing but, once again, it is the income earned by factors of production, or we can say it is the factor income, and to it is added the current transfers from the government as well as from the rest of the world. So here the private income is nothing but current income received from all sources to the private sector. It is nothing but the current income received from all sources to the private sector. So this private sector comprises of or consists of private enterprises and factor owners. Now here we can also look into this private income as the total of factor income including retained profits of the corporations from all sources and current transfers from the government and rest of the world accruing to the private sector only. Accruing to the private sector only. Here we talk about only private sector. We said that disposable income is divided into two parts. One is national disposable income, the other one is disposable income accruing to the private sector. Now when we talk about national disposable income, we have included the public as well as the private sector's income. Now when we talk about the disposable income accruing to the private sector, we here only talk about the private sector, we exclude the public sector. Now if we want to find out the private income, if we want to find out the private income, how do we do it? So private income, we said it is nothing but the income, factor income, as well as the net current transfers from the rest of the world and the government. Now here we can write it as private income, which is equals to NDP at FC, net domestic product at factor cost, which is accruing to private sector, plus the NFIA, net factor income from abroad. To it we add the interest on national debt plus net current transfers from the government plus the net current transfers from the rest of the world. So that is what is private income. That is what is private income. Now here in this private income, as we can see, we have written here NDP FC. We have written here NDP at factor cost accruing to the private sector. So here this NDP at FC, which we are taking here, which is accruing to the private sector, or we can simply say that the income of the private sector. The income of the private sector. So how to find the income of the private sector? We'll look into this. how to find the income of the private sector. So here, if we talk about the income of the private sector, how can we find it? Now here, income of the private sector, before moving into it, we need to know that we all know that the entire economy on the basis of ownership is divided into two, as public sector and private sector. Now here, if we talk about, if we leave the private sector, because we will be talking about it in details, if we talk about the public sector once again is divided into two. The public sector is once again divided into two, as departmental enterprises and non-departmental enterprises. As departmental enterprises and non-departmental enterprises. Now here, the public sector, which is divided in as departmental enterprises, consists of what? So everything which is having 100% ownership of the government, whatever enterprise it is, if it is having 100% ownership of the government, it is falling under the departmental enterprises. Now here, if we want certain examples of departmental enterprises, we can talk about the railways, we can talk about the currency notes and coins issued by the RBI, we can talk about the mint, which is owned by the government. We can say that the railways, the posts, the telegraph, all this would be coming under the departmental enterprises. Next is non-departmental enterprises. So if we talk about non-departmental enterprises, here the ownership is by the public as well as by the private people. So here the ownership of these non-departmental enterprises is by the government for at least 51%. It should be at least 51%, not less than 51%. So if it is less than 51%, then we cannot call it as non-departmental, or we cannot consider it as public enterprise. So here at least 51% of the share of the enterprise should be under the control of the government, then we can call it as non-departmental enterprise. So this non-departmental enterprise, if we want examples, we can talk about the LIC, which is there, the General Insurance Corporation, which is there. Then we can also talk about Air India, Indian Oil Corporation, etc. So here we have seen certain examples of the public sector enterprises. The public sector enterprises in the form of departmental enterprise and non-departmental enterprise. Now the income of these departmental and non-departmental enterprises will have to be deducted from the national income or from the NDP at FC of the entire economy, in order to get the NDP at FC of the private sector alone. So here what we are supposed to do to get the NDP at FC accruing to the private sector, to get it, we are supposed to subtract the income from property and entrepreneurship accruing to the government departmental enterprises, and also we are going to subtract the savings of the non-departmental enterprises of the government. So in order to get the NDP at FC accruing to the private sector, what we are doing is we are subtracting income from property and entrepreneurship accruing to the government departmental enterprises, and also we are subtracting the savings of the non-departmental enterprises of the government from the NDP at FC of the nation, from the NDP at FC of the nation. So if we do it, we get the NDP at FC accruing to the private sector alone. Now here we got the private sector's NDP at FC. Now we have already seen in the formula of the private income that NDP at FC, how do we get? We got Now we need to know about NFI. NFI already we have discussed it in class, and we know it is the net factor income from abroad, which is earned by the factor services provided abroad by our factors of production. So whatever we earn from abroad will have to be added to our income. So we add it to our private income. Now the next, if we see, we are talking about the interest on national debt. We talk about the interest on national debt. So now what is this interest on national debt? What do we mean by the interest on national debt? So interest here refers to the interest, the rate at which the government is taking loan. Now the government also can take loan from the public. Yes, the government takes loans from the public for two purposes. The government will be taking loan from the public for two purposes. One is for the consumption and administrative purpose. One is for the consumption and administrative purpose, that is to pay the salaries of the government workers, to look into the administrative, for example the police. Then we talk about the cleanliness. For all these purpose the government would be using that money. And the other one is for investment purpose. The government can take loan for investment purpose. Now if we talk about investment purpose, the government would get certain return out of it. So there is no problem with that. So in this regard, when we talk about the debt, when we talk about the interest on the national debt, we talk only about the loan which is taken by the government for the consumption and administrative purpose, so that the interest on that loan would be paid back to the public from which the government takes. So the interest is once again a income. The interest which is received by the public from or on the loans taken by the government to meet their consumption or administrative purposes is the income which has to be added to private income. So we can see it here. So interest on national debt. So here the interest on the loans taken by the government to meet its consumption and administrative activities, so which we will have to add to the private income. Now the other part of the formula which we have seen talks about the net current transfers from the government and net current transfers from rest of the world. The net current transfers from the government and the net current transfers from rest of the world. So already in our previous video we have seen about the net current transfers. We have seen about net current transfers. So net current transfers here refers to without doing anything in return for certain amount. So it is only transfer of the purchasing power. So if for example if we are getting net current transfers from the government, means what, in the form of the government can give transfers in the form of old age pensions. Yesterday we have, in our previous video we have discussed about it, and then we also discussed about scholarships which the students get. So all these are different transfer payments made by the government, and in return the public also makes certain transfer payments to the government. So in the form of fines or in the form of the taxes, the public would be making transfer payments to the government. So the difference between the payment which the public makes to the government, which the people make to the government, and which the government gives to the people, is what is net current transfers from the government. The next one is net current transfers from rest of the world. Now we know that our friends, if they are in any other country, they can send us certain gifts. In our previous video we have discussed about it. If they are sending us certain gifts, and we from here also can send them certain gifts. So here the transfer payments between two countries would take place. So the net amount of those transfer payments will have to be added to the private income. So here now I think the private income is complete. So private income is nothing but, we said that it is the net domestic product at factor cost which is accruing to the private sector. To it we add the net factor income from abroad, and we also add the interest on national debt, and we add the net current transfers from the government and from the rest of the world. So that is what is our private income. What we are supposed to know is that the private income which we are talking here is the pre-tax income. We can say that the private income is the pre-tax income. So this income, this private income, in a way can help the government to decide the tax based on the magnitude of the income. So it can help the government to decide the tax based on this income, or based on the magnitude of this income, the amount of this income. The government would be deciding the tax which has to be imposed on the private enterprises or the private factor owners. So that is what is the importance of this private income. Now the next topic which we are going to discuss is personal income. So we said that disposable income of the private sector is divided into three parts, and we have seen a part of it which as private income. Now we are going to discuss about personal income. So what do we mean by the term personal income? So here personal refers to a household, the income available to a household from whichever source the household is able to get it. It does not matter from what source the household is getting the income. It is the income which the household is getting from whichever source available to it. So that is what is the personal income. Now if we talk about the personal income, see here, total of all current incomes received by the household from all sources is what is personal income. Now here the personal income of the household, the personal income of the household is in the form of factor income and in the form of transfer income. So already we have discussed about transfer income, so we are not going into transfer income in detail. So here we are talking about factor income. So the factor incomes which we know that we know that there are four factors of production which are land, labor, capital and organization or entrepreneur. So when we talk about the remunerations given to them or the income of these factors of production, we know that the land is receiving rent as its remuneration. Then if we talk about labor, is receiving wage, the capital would be receiving interest, and here the organizer or entrepreneur would be receiving profit. But I have written here dividend. Now sir, why are you writing there dividend instead of profit? Yes, so the reason for this is the profit, we know the profit which accrues to the private enterprises is once again divided into three parts. So we know that out of the profit, what the private enterprises would be doing, the private enterprises would be paying or a portion of the total profit they will be giving to the shareholders as dividend, right? So apart from this dividend, the out of the remaining profit, what they will be doing, they will be keeping some as undistributed profit, and a part of this undistributed profit they will be using in order to pay corporate tax. So we can see it here, the profit which is earned by the enterprise would be used for paying the dividends or giving dividends to the shareholders, and the remaining out of the remaining part of the profit, a part of the profit is used to make corporate payments of the tax, corporate tax payments, and the remaining part which is there, we call it as undistributed profits, which is left with the enterprises. Now here when we talk about the dividend, when we talk about the personal income, we'll have to include only the dividend into it. we will have to include only the dividend into it, because these two which we are talking about is not the income of the private sector or the household. The household will not be receiving this. This is with the enterprises. So the household will not be receiving these two. The household only receives dividend out of the total profit earned by the enterprises. So as a result, we are including only dividend while calculating the personal income and not the entire part of the profit. Now, if we talk about personal income, how do we get this personal income? So personal income is nothing but it is the private income. From this private income, we subtract the undistributed profits, and we also subtract the corporate profits tax, and at the same time, if there is any retained earnings of the foreign companies, that also we would be subtracting from it. Now you can ask, sir, what is retained earnings of the foreign companies? Now here, what do we mean by retained earnings? Actually, retained earnings are the earnings of the company or the profits of the company. What they will be doing with this profit? They will not be paying. They'll not be paying the entire profit to the shareholders. They keep a part of it. They retain a part of the profit. That part of the profit we are calling it as retained profits or retained earnings. So now here, with this retained earnings, what can be done in future? So the firm would be using this retained earnings for further development of their enterprise, for further production activities in their enterprise. So that is what is personal income. Now this personal income of the household will enable the government to know the entire income available with the household, based on which the government can charge the taxes. So it is helpful in fixation of the taxes for the public. And at the same time, the third part is personal disposable income. Now what is this personal disposable income? Now before to it, we discussed about personal income. So personal income is the amount which is there with the households, and this amount is not the amount which can be used for final consumption and saving. So here, personal disposable income refers to the amount which is available with the households, with individual households, for what? For either consumption purpose or for either savings. Now this amount they will be using it for consumption or for savings. That is what is personal disposable income. Now we can see it here, personal disposable income. It is the actual income available to the individual households for consumption and saving. Now how do we get this personal disposable income? Before moving into it, we need to know one very important point, that is the personal disposable income is always less than personal income. So now you can ask, sir, why it is always less than personal income? Now if we talk about disposable income, we said that the income which is finally left with the households, for what? For consumption or for saving purpose. Now finally left, but the personal income which we are getting from it, we are the personal disposable income is the income which is finally left. We said finally left when? After the deduction of our payments in the form of tax payments or non-tax payments. Now from this personal income, when we remove the payments of the tax and non-tax, then whatever is remaining with us, that is what is personal income. So that will be treating as the income which is available with the individual household for further consumption or saving purpose. Now personal disposable income, as we can see here, is the personal income minus the personal taxes minus the miscellaneous receipts of the government administrative departments. So which is non-tax payments, miscellaneous receipts here in the form of if for example I'm going on a bike somewhere to the market, and in between a police personnel stops me for not having a helmet. Now the police personnel would be charging me certain amount, a fine. So that fine which I pay to the police personnel, I am paying it to the government. I am paying it to the government, which is not a part of the tax. So these fines can be treated as non-tax payments. Non-tax payments. Also, if we talk about the toll fee on national highways, so the toll fee which we pay is also a non-tax payments to the government. So all these tax and non-tax payments, if we deduct from personal income, we get personal disposable income, so which is finally with the people or with the households to dispose of. Now this personal disposable income is very much useful to measure the potential demand for goods and services in the economy. It is very much useful to know the potential demand of the households for different goods and services in the economy. So it is acting as an indicator for the enterprises which are making the or are into production process. It indicates how much of goods and services are demanded in the economy actually, based on the personal disposable income of the country. Yes, I hope you have understood the topic which we have discussed today. So based on these topics, please go through the text, try to get your your doubts clarified through text if it is there, and at the same time please continue doing your homeworks. Thank you.